Hey, welcome, Parshas Tazria. We continue the second reading in Vayikra, chapter 13, verse number 6. Today's class. Baruch atah Adonai Mechelam she'akol nidbarei.
Amen.
Is in honor of the yortzeit of Eliezer. We're not certain exactly his father, Avram, Eliezer ben Avram. But that's for sure. He's for sure, related to him, right? Huh? Shammai's grandfather. No, Shammai's father, right? Pinchas's grandfather, right? Shammai. I don't know. Shammai. It's just his name.
In this case, it was Eliezer.
Yeah. Yes. So in any case, the Shammai should have an Aliyah. Today's his yortzeit, and we have his grandson over here who came back from the land of our people. That's in Florida. Everybody ran away for the winter, came back here and got some winter. So we welcome Paul, we welcome Ron, L'chaim, back. Welcome back home. So for his neshama, we're going to dedicate the learning for today. We are in Parshas Tazria learning about Taras. Taras is a skin disease that we started yesterday, and we continue with it today. V'raha kohen. So when you have this skin disease, you have to show it to the kohen, right? Say to show it. V'yom hashvi, on the seventh day, sheni is the second time. Remember, if it did not spread after the first time by being incarcerated for 7 days, then you have to go back and for another 7 days to see if it spread. The lesion, the affliction that's on the skin. Right, and now the kohen has to watch it. And behold, the lesion became dimmer, and it did not spread on nega, or the affliction, the lesion in the skin. V'tihara kohen, so the kohen shall pronounce him clean. Tihara, the word tahar means clean, so he'll pronounce him clean. Mispachas it is a mispachas. V'chibetz begada v'tahir. And he shall immerse his garments and become clean. Rashi in verse number 6, it became din. It became dimmer than its original appearance. But if it remained in its original appearance, or it spread, tame, he becomes impure. Mispachas, it's a mispachas shem negatar. This is a name of a pure affliction. In other words, it's an affliction, right? But it doesn't make the person impure. It's a lesion, right? There is some, but it makes the person, it doesn't make them impure. The chibes begad v'tayir, he shall immerse his garments and become pure. Since he needed to quarantine, to be in quarantine, the nikra tame, and he's called impure, and he needs immersion. He needs to immerse himself. I know it's not saras, but it's still and he doesn't have to, go through the whole process of someone who has saras, but since he was quarantined, it's a lesser degree of impurity, which requires immersion in the mikvah. Verse number 7, but however, if it will spread hamispachas, this mispachas ba'or in his skin, after he showed it to the kohen. Others, after 7 days, he's in quarantine for 7 days. He shows now the lesion to the kohen. It didn't spread, it got dimmer, right? So and then everything's okay. But after that time, right, he shows it to the kohen, and now it's spread. The taharos of the kohen. So if for its purification, it became, right, it shall be shown to the kohen a second time. V'ra kohen, verse number 8, and the kohen shall look at it. V'hine, and behold, in fact, it did spread. Ba'or, this mispachas spread on his skin. Tima, now he has to pronounce him impure. That's his job. It's harasi, and it is considered saras. Rashi in verse number 8, V'timai hakayin, The kohen shall make it impure. Mishetima, once he makes it impure, behold, it is decidedly impure. And now, another, because before he was also impure, but not called taras. Impure that he has to go to the mikvah. It's a lesser degree. But now he's decidedly impure that he needs to bring birds afterwards as an offering after he becomes cleansed. But he glachas, and he also has to leave his hair grow and then shave off the hair. But Korban has to bring an offering. As we will see in next week's Torah portion, the process that a person has to go through. Sarasi, it is Saras Mispachas Azois. This Mispachas is Saras. Loshen Akeva. Saras is a feminine form. Nega is Loshen Zochar is a masculine form of a word. Okay. Verse number 9. Nega Saras Kitia Ba'adam Vuvala Kayin. So the nega is the lesion, the affliction of Saras that is upon the individual, the Adam. It shall be brought to the kohen. The raw kohen, and the kohen will see it. Okay, now we're talking about a different case. That was right that there was a lesion and it didn't spread originally. Then it did, or then he becomes he's impure. Then he has to go to the mikvah right after the second time being in quarantine. Right. Sounds like COVID over here, right? We're reliving COVID right now. Should only relive COVID in the book. And only in the book it should be, right? In the good book, nowhere else. Right now, it's a new case. A person comes, he has a lesion, right? But kohen, and the kohen sees it. Remember, the kohen is the one. Why does the kohen have to? By the way, why is the kohen the one who has to see it? He's the expert. I mean, other people could be an expert. Can you bring to another expert who's not a kohen? You're not. The Torah says only to a kohen. Why? Because this is a kohen is considered to be isha chesed, a person of kindness, and therefore will look more kindly upon this lesion to, not look for the negativity in it, and to look to, put this person into a state of tzaras, of impurity. So he's a kind, therefore you bring it to kind eyes of a kohen. So kohen v'hine se'es levana ba'or, and behold, there is a white se'es, in the skin. V'hi avcha, so se'er lavan, and it now transformed, it turned into white hair, right? Person has black hair. But now that white hair in that lesion of se'es turned from a black hair to a white hair. Or there's a healthy live flesh in the se'es. In other words, the se'es is that lesion, right? It is questionable of what this is. Is it tzaras, not tzaras, right? But it's definitely something not a healthy kind of skin, right? So either there was black hair that turned white, or there's actually good flesh, healthy flesh within it. Now, you might think that healthy flesh is good, but let's see Rashi. Michya, number 10 in Rashi. Healthy flesh. In Old French, sainnement. How was my Old French there, Mr. You just don't have an Old French accent. You have a modern day French accent. Québécois, even worse. Off the charts.
So we're trying to get him to
Québécois. No, this is Old French, only Old French. I'm only an Old Frenchman. Yeah. So what happened over here? Part of the whiteness, remember this se'es, this lesion, this affliction, right, is a whitening of the skin, right?
Not the hair.
There's either two things can happen in the whitening of the skin. Black hair turned white, or there was a healthy flesh inside of it, right? That's what we're talking about over here. And that's what Rashi is now speaking about, right? That in the whiteness of this se'es, right? The mare basar now appeared flesh, right? Flesh is not white. Flesh is, our color of our flesh, right? Turned inside there. Afu simintuma. Now you might think that's a healthy sign. No, the Torah is coming to tell us that that's an impure sign, that there's healthy flesh in a place where there isn't healthy flesh. Okay, which is an interesting idea. Seir lavan beloy michya, white hair without a healthy flesh, or michya beloy seir lavan, or a healthy flesh without white hair. Either one is a sign of impurity. Now, there's either 2 hairs of white or healthy flesh with no hairs of white. Both of them are not good signs. They're signs of impurity. Although the healthy flesh was not stated as a sign of impurity, only with regard to se'es. Nonetheless, in all of the other afflictions and their offsprings, who simin tuma, it is a sign of impurity. Yesterday we learned about, right? This is called the se'es. Remember, we learned yesterday that there are 4 different levels of whiteness, right? One getting more white and white on the skin, right? Yesterday we learned one level. Today we're learning another level called a se'es, right? That se'es is the only one that mentions that if there's healthy skin inside of it. So you might think that the other 3 areas, when there was white, different levels of whiteness, that if there was healthy skin, that it's not a sign of impurity. Rashi just said, no, it is a sign of impurity in all of them. The fact that it just mentions here, good question. Okay. Tzaras noishenes he. This is noishenes means old. It's an old tzaras, affliction. Ba'or b'sarai, in the flesh of his skin, v'timai, a kohen, and the kohen has to pronounce him impure. Lo yaskina, he doesn't have to quarantine him. Kitamahi, why? Because he's impure. When do you get quarantined? When there's a doubt. A doubt, then you get quarantined to see what will be, right? But in this instance, there's no doubt. Rashi. So Rashi, tzaras neishenesi, he says it's an old tzaras, makli yishanahim. It's an old wound, tachas michya, under the healthy flesh. The chabura here, and it's a bruise. Veniris brial milamaila, but appears healthy on the upper surface, but on the underside, maleach lecha, is full of fluid, as the verse says, and you should not say, because there's healthy flesh there that is on top of the affliction, that I should purify it and declare it pure. No, it's impure. In other words, so here you got the whiteness over here. In the middle of it, there's healthy flesh. Under that healthy flesh is pus, right? But you don't see that. So you might think that it is considered, a sign of healthy flesh, so therefore you'll purify this person. Torah is saying no. That's why it's called an old, meaning old, because underneath it, right, is still the unhealthiness, and therefore it is considered impure. Okay? Verse number 12. And if this tzaras will spread, parech means like fly, meaning to spread. Hatzaras, the affliction, or on the skin, hatzaras, and the affliction will cover is or hanegem ragle. Look what happens over here. Now it's spread. This affliction covers the entire skin from head to toe. And the kohen sees, right? He sees it. Rashi, 12. Meroishay, shel adam, from the afflicted person, from the head, the adraglav, to his feet. The chol mare kohen, wherever the eyes of the kohen can see, prat kohen, this excludes the power of vision is impaired. In other words, a kohen who doesn't have good eyesight cannot do this job. He has to have good eyesight. Right? Because that's what this is coming to tell us. In other words, it has to be wherever the eyes of the kohen can see. So if the eyes of the kohen are not able to see well, he has, limited vision, then he doesn't have this job. 13. And the crane shall see this. It's called the sarai, and behold, the tzaras is covering the entire flesh of this person. Tiharis and nega. Oh, he shall pronounce him to be pure. Kulai completely. Afach lavan Torah. That he has turned completely white. He's clean. Is that intuitively what you would have thought? No, intuitively you would have thought if there's only a part of a whiteness on my skin, so then that would be impure. If it's completely, then right. That's why this is beyond logic.
Vitiligo, like
Huh?
the pigmentation, flesh, the pigmentation, is this?
It's a pigmentation of the skin that's white. Yes, exactly. It turned white. It's not the natural color of the person. Turned white. It's a skin disease, right?
So if it covers everything, then he's pure.
Then he's pure. That's what the verse says,
Yeah.
right? So what does this mean? This is what's called a choik. It's a statutory law that's beyond logic. But we wouldn't have thought that. You would think the opposite, right? But on that day, the live flesh appears, he shall become unclean. Let's see Rashi. Rashi in 14. And on the day that the healthy flesh appeared in it, if the healthy flesh had grown in it, the Torah already explicitly told us that the healthy flesh is a sign of impurity. And the verse would not need to repeat it. Ella, but rather this verse comes to tell us, and then that the affliction was one of the 24 tips of the limbs, did not cause impurity due to the appearance of the sign of the healthy flesh. Because the affliction cannot be seen, kulai, the entirety, in one single look. Because it's slanted, from one side to another, and then the tip of the limb underwent a change. The inclination was exposed, the entire hair, which previously could not be seen, its entirety at once, become visible as a whole, shuman, through fat, because of the accumulation of the fat eliminated the incline. If for example, the area of the affliction became fat, became broader, and the healthy flesh became visible in its entirety. This comes to disha, it becomes impure. In other words, if there was first just a partial, and now all of a sudden the whole body, right? How did it come from that? Because it was on the tip and you couldn't see the whole thing. That's in brief. Oh, but on the day, what does it mean? Why does it have to state that? This comes to teach you. There are times that you see the affliction to determine whether it's pure, but yeshem, and there's days you don't. Because you don't see it. Like today, you can't look at it at 3:00, and when the sun is going to be covered, you wouldn't be able to look at the affliction, right? For example, because you don't see it properly. We can't for here. We learn. Our sages teach us, son. Actually, I said it because of the moon covering, right? Yeah. But he's saying over here because of other reasons. Meaning, a chassan, a bridegroom, let's say he had a lesion. You don't look at it because he just got married. So let him, grant him the 7 days of celebration. Loy, for him. That's Lisai, and for his robe, and for his garments, for the base, and for his house. Likewise, when it's a festival holiday, you give the person the entire holiday, and only afterwards you see it. As it's bayoim, because again, what's the verse saying here? The verse is saying on the day that he sees. What do you mean the day? Obviously, it's in the day that you see. If you're not seeing it, then you can't pronounce it whether it's pure or impure. What do you mean in the day? Meaning there's some days you see and some days you don't see. What is a day you don't see? When a guy just got married, wait till he finishes 7 days of celebration. Or if it's the holiday, Pesach is coming, or Shavuos, whatever. Wait till the holiday is over, then go and see. Because there's days you shouldn't look at, right? Let them celebrate. That's what the Torah is coming to say. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, a few more verses. We're almost finished here. And the kohen should see the healthy live flesh. The timoy, and he will pronounce him unclean. Because the live flesh is unclean, it is tzaras. Rashi, tzaras who? A basar ahu, basar loshen zachar. So grammatically, it is masculine, the word basar. So the tzaras who, and that's why tzaras who rather than tzaras he. He would be feminine. Who is, right, masculine. 16. Or but if the healthy live flesh once again turns white, he comes to the kohen. The kohen has to see him, and the lesion turned white. The tihara kohen is a neg, but the kohen will pronounce the lesion clean. He is clean. Right? Because what happened? The healthy flesh turned into white. White flesh by itself, if there isn't the white skin, right? The lesion in itself is not make you a tzaras. Only if it's spread, only if the two black hairs or more than two black hairs turned into white hairs, then it's considered tzaras, right? But in this instance, it turned back from the healthy looking skin to the white. So the whole thing now is a white lesion.
Yeah.
That itself is not impure.
Spreading
Or if it would spread,
Yeah.
or if, again, the two black hairs turn into white hairs,
Yeah.
then it becomes tzaras. Or if it went back to the healthy skin, in the middle of it. And that's it. Psh. All right.
dermatology.
Huh?
Dermatology.
Dermatology. Yeah, this is a different kind of dermatology. All right, folks. Thank you. We'll see you shortly.